As I stand here today, I am filled with pride and gratitude for how far we've come as a community. 5 years ago, we made a collective commitment to deepen our understanding of race and equity, not as a one-time initiative, but as a long-term journey toward becoming a more racially conscious, inclusive, and just district. What began as conversations about equity has evolved into a shared movement that integrates consciousness and the personal and interpersonal work into what we do operationally. Through our DRE Collabs, which is the development of personal and interpersonal relationships between the DRE team members and administrators, our consistent professional development, and now the implementation of the equity leadership teams, we have begun to build capacity for propagation at every level in our school community, empowering all of us to be equity advocates and change agents within our own spaces. In addition, we've created affinity spaces that allow our staff space to connect, reflect, and heal. We've offered professional learning that challenges us to look inward, to help us understand and to shape our beliefs. This is important because our beliefs inform our decisions, which drive the operational choices that we make, and ultimately determines all of the outcomes within our schools. Over the years, the Department of Race and Equity has developed a toolkit filled with the 5 equity elements framework that helps to turn theory into practice. From using the protocol to guide courageous conversations, to using the CLA template to help navigate harm mitigation plans. We've celebrated culture and community through Hispanic heritage events, Black History Month programs, scholar celebrations, and the Race and Equity read-alouds, affirming that every story, every language adds richness to our district's identity. Through it all, we've seen a true mindset shift. More administrators and staff are talking openly about race, centering racial consciousness, and leaning into discomfort. We've taken intentional steps to increase representation through our hiring practices because we know that representation matters. Now, as we enter the next phase of our equity journey, we will center data as a mirror, using it not just to measure outcomes, but to illuminate patterns and to guide adult practices that disrupt inequities. We know that it's not about numbers alone. It's about the stories behind them, about students and staff whose experiences call us to do better. We're not the same district we were 5 years ago, and we still have work to do. But we do have language, we have tools, and we are a lot more courageous as a community. So let's honor the foundation we've built. We now know that if people are in the room, race is in the room. So let's use a toolkit and framework to build that truth into something righteous and liberating. Knowing that race is the container that holds all identities is a truth that we should not be afraid to share. And this mindset is not a destination, it's a practice, it's a way of being. So thank you for being a part of this journey and for continuing the work that ensures every student, every staff member, and every family feels seen, valued, heard, and empowered to thrive and to be their authentic selves. So by now, you should have an article in front of you. As we move into the next phase of our learning, we invite you to read this article, which I wrote, and it's called Looking at Data, a Both and Approach. This piece challenges us to see data not just as numbers, not just as achievement or outcomes, but as a mirror, as I said earlier, so we can reflect on who's being served, who's being left behind, and how our personal beliefs and systemic practices shape those realities. So, as you read, please consider these questions. When I look at our data, do I see numbers or do I see people and stories? What's the difference between achievement and opportunity? What might this data reveal about adult practices, beliefs, or systems, not just student outcomes? How do my personal and interpersonal actions contribute to closing or unintentionally widening opportunity gaps? And how can I use data as a mirror, not to assign blame, but to spark awareness, healing, and change? So thank you for taking the time to process and reflect.